Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hey, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com, FamilyPetAncestry.com. You're probably already there. Let's do the credits. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song with his wife Sarah that you just heard. He's going to sing his version of the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Patrick Brady is going to fix this audio, and Vilmos works on JackieCation.com, the website. There are many ways to support the show. The Amazon link is one. You can use an Amazon link from JackieCation.com or DorkForest.com to go to Amazon. You order like normal, and it supports the show. There is a straight-up donation button, PayPal or Venmo, to this email address that is mine, Jackie@JackieCation.com, where you can just donate to the show if you like the show a lot. I think PayPal has figured out a way to do a monthly. If you want to go monthly, please do. Other ways to support the show if you want to is you can buy merch. There's Dork Forest t-shirts, and all the shirts are union made here in America, so they run a little big. Union Bayside, so if you want to look up their size chart. And then the other merch is my stand-up merch. On JackieCation.com, you can watch me do stand-up, you can look at my schedule, and the stand-up merch, a couple of different t-shirts, couple of different enamel pins, and all my CDs and my DVD. If you want to live stream my DVD, it's over there at comedyfilmnerds.com. They have a live streaming capability, or you can get a hard copy of the DVD on my website. Oh, there are premium episodes at Bandcamp. TheDorkForest.bandcamp.com has probably 10 episodes that were done live. They cost me a couple of bucks to make, so I charge you a couple of bucks. If you've run out of regular episodes, go over to TheDorkForest.bandcamp.com and get some more. Other than that, I say this. Let's get into the show. Hey, it's Jackie Cation. I'm in my living room with Christopher Titus. Titus, we're just going to call you Titus.
All right, it's fine. I like that.
That's what people do.
Everybody does. Everyone yells that. No one yells like, Christopher. Titus. I get that a lot.
It's just Titus.
We were just in Cleveland, and I just got that. I'm walking down the street in Cleveland, hilarities. And
it's very junior high. People,
it's fucking Titus.
Fucking Titus. Titus. Titus, you owe me 12 cents.
Exactly. We went to prom, bitch.
So you do the stand-up comedy.
I do the stand-up comedy my whole life. 36 years, my friend.
That's it. And it's at Titus Nation, Titus Nation, on the Twitter and the Instagram.
Again, a very uncomfortable. When I picked it, I was like, yeah, Titus Nation. And
right. There was a dude bro moment where you were like, I'm picking this.
And then about 600 followers, and I realized that's really not a nation. And now,
right,
now I'm at 135. It's not even a small town at this point.
It's a nation state. Maybe it's like the Vatican.
So people just know I know how dorky Titus Nation is.
Yeah, he
Mock
gets
me all you want. I just can't change it now because you're with me.
Yeah, everyone's dipped. Everyone's on board. It'll just be what it is.
I like that you change your name all the time on yours.
Oh right, you could change your handle. You can change your handle. You can't change the @ or you lose your blue check mark. Which somebody was all mad. Like that was a slam that I got from somebody on Twitter. They said, "Oh, blue check mark means dirtbag or something," and I was like, I wasn't involved in being verified. I didn't send them money.
Basically, all I did was prove I was me. That's all that happened.
They didn't even ask. It's they all of a sudden one day they were like, nobody else knows this little about sports, so it's got to be Cation.
This is definitely Jackie.
So we have met several times. You, much like myself, I consistently forget everyone I meet, and the first time you remembered me was probably 5 years ago. But I've opened for you twice.
Right.
I opened for you in like 98.
Yeah, you got to
at
remember.
Knuckleheads.
Right. Very self-centered at that point. I was very into me. I don't recognize anybody from those years.
Oh, I don't recognize anybody from these years, sadly. And I'm doing what I can. We're all just plugging along. So, and then in 2003.
Where was the club in 98? Which one?
Knuckleheads in Mall of America.
Oh my God! Yes, Minneapolis. Yeah.
Dumb vaulted ceiling.
Yeah.
Sure, that was the first time, and then the second time was at Punchline in Sacramento.
Yep.
In 2003, and then we met here at Flappers.
Right.
And you were like, you seem very funny, and I was like, yes, we've worked together. But
now that you've said those two dates, I specifically remember. Here's the problem: 2003. My marriage was slowly coming apart. And again, to be a
That'll
comic, you got to
interrupt.
be the most self-centered human being in the world. So yes, I'm one of those people that doesn't have a great, but I've always
I don't.
done,
But I never took it personally. I always thought it was funny, just because I don't.
It's horrible.
Well, because I don't remember anyone, and I have to laugh.
I've had a couple of Gandhi moments since those days, and when I hear stories, I talked to Jake Johansson about me, and I go, because he knew when I was 19, and when I started
poor
comedy,
thing.
and Jake was like, and I'm like, Jake, what was it like? He goes, you were a lot. And there's a lot of those stories where I'm just like, and it's weird. I feel like now I'm going through the world just slowly cleaning up whatever bit of an asshole I was.
You're like, how about we go forward trying to just go, I know that there was some trouble, and I'm just going to try to be better.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a psychic janitor now, just clean up on my bullshit that I did over the years. And it was so, when I started, I was 19. I was 19 years old, and I was not part of any group. All the young comics were 26, 27, 23.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I wasn't part of their group. I was the kid, and then the older guys were like this fucking guy. And
right.
so I was I was kind of by myself for so long. So I called myself a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
Did you call yourself a lone? I did. I believe when I was 14.
I think people that were assholes in their past called themselves lone wolves.
Oh yeah. Then they get qualifying for that. It's okay. So, but let's. Pete, are you working next week? Because that's when this will come out. Is
yes,
1
I am
week
working
from
next week.
today.
Virginia Beach. We're doing Virginia Beach, Richmond, and one other gig. Yes. And,
okay, and just go.
I love going to the southeast during hurricane season. I try to.
Oh, that's nice. It's, you're just like, I want to live in a dishwasher.
Yeah, Minneapolis in January. I do what I can.
always looking. Now, is your tour on TitusNation.com?
You go ChristopherTitus.com.
Oh, there we go.
I got that
good
one.
for them.
Yeah,
good for them for someone going, no, we're done with Titus Nation for a second. But
Titus Nation just got smaller. We've moved.
Here's the funny thing about your dorkdom. I lived in Minneapolis most of the 90s.
I know.
I don't know anything about Prince.
How do you not know anything about Prince?
Prince is a musician, and he...
There you go. That's one.
He threw his guitar up in the sky, and it went away during some video that I watched.
Did you watch it recently?
Yeah, probably 3 months ago. It was amazing.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because this Prince. Okay. So first of all, Prince. I don't just like his music. It's not a music thing for me.
Okay.
It's an entire philosophy thing. And so my dorkdom is Prince, not just from I loved Purple Rain. That's not a dork. I like him because everything he did. I know stuff he did in my house.
Okay.
In 96, 97.
Okay.
I had a white chocolate dolphin and a napkin from his wedding that I kept in a glass case in my house.
Oh, wait. First of all, he was married. And second of all, were you at the wedding, or did you get it off of eBay or something?
No, I had a buddy of mine. His wife was decorated the wedding. She designed the wedding for Prince.
Okay.
And he was in my acting class, and he knew I was a Psycho fan. And you got to remember, I'm not a Psycho fan recently. This goes back to 1983.
Oh, really?
And so he was.
Little Red Corvette.
No, way back. Well, yes, I started at 1999. I heard Little Red Corvette first. Then I bought 1999, and then I went backwards for that. There was a comic named Warren Thomas who was an awesome comic. Then when you're the opening act, what do you do most of the time? You fucking drive. That's what you do. You drive.
Yeah.
You're driving the headliner. The guy who booked you would go, you're going to pick this guy up. He lives 300 miles from you, and then you're going to drive him 300 miles the other way.
And he's going to get to lecture you for hours upon hours.
And tell you,
it's going to be amazing.
Here's how comedy works. Thanks, guy who's done the same act for 14 years.
Right.
So Warren Thomas, I walked into his house, and he had this picture of Prince, I think it was Dirty Mind, on his wall framed. And I was like, what's with that? I go, that's kind of weird. Because remember, I was from a very hardcore, there was no...
Where'd you grow up?
Northern California, but in the Bay Area, lower Bay Area, Hayward, Newark, Fremont, the Crystal Meth Triangle of that area.
Sure.
And I was like, that's weird. That guy's wearing panties and high boots and stuff.
Yeah.
Warren's like, do you know who this is? And I'm like, no. He goes, you need to buy every album this man has done so far. And this is...
That's a classic headliner. You don't understand.
Exactly.
We're all into cricket this week or whatever.
Exactly. You know what the thought thing is? No, I don't really care. So I went and bought 1999. I used to drive van, and I would listen to, and I just had AM radio in this van because I was working in a warehouse, and when I started comedy, and they kept playing Little Red Corvette, and I loved it. And then I started digging deep. Then I went into 1999, and I went to Controversy, I went to Dirty Mind, and I was like, holy shit. Then I started reading something. Then he performed at the Oakland Coliseum, and I read the review, and the reviewer, very effusive. I've never heard read a reviewer go that far and describe what he described. At the end of Prince's show, first of all, he in panties, he's playing in panties, he's rocking the room, he's out of control, so far beyond anything Elvis did sexually. And then at the end of his set, he gets on a brass bed on wheels and humps it as the last song is playing as he's singing. I'm like, okay, now
it's just him flat on a bed,
humping a pillow on the bed.
Okay.
And I'm like, I have got to find out more about this human being. So, and then I would take these, when you're starting comedy, you take very long road trips. You would drive, because all you had at a car, you couldn't afford a flight.
No. You had tapes.
I had cassettes.
Thank you very much.
I wore out 2 Controversies and a 1999. And then I started digging around. Then Erotic, when Erotic City came out, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm in. Then Prince dropped Sign of the Times. Sign of the Times came out. And here's what music wasn't doing at that time. And even now to this day. Prince had this ability to go, he could give you 3 songs that would literally, if you played them when you were dating somebody, would get you laid. You would sit in a room and just the clothes would start coming off.
I am now sexually aroused. Let's do this.
You thought it was you. It wasn't. It was Prince.
It was Prince.
Prince was playing.
Name a tune.
Oh,
just offhand. Can you name any tune that could get you laid?
Mother, Lover, Sister, Wife. Okay. That one's good. I mean, God, man. There's so many. Do Me. Do me, baby.
Okay.
Like you've never done before.
Oh, wow. All right.
And he knows how to. Here's what Prince is awesome at: screams and grunts. Oh my God, he knows exactly where to put it.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was just like, yeah, there's a lot of screaming and grunting going on,
and it's perfect.
it's perfect
screaming and grunting.
He nails the timing.
So I was this huge fan, and then he went online, and there's an album he did called Crystal Ball that only hardcore Prince fans buy, and it was $39 or $49.99 on the website, and this is before anybody was selling shit online.
It was like $40 or $50 for this.
Yeah, and it was 4 or 5 albums.
Okay.
And one of them was a bonus one called The Truth, which is him just playing acoustic and some of the best songs you've ever heard. There's a song called The Truth, and anyway, he just breaks it down, and stuff that came out later was on that album, and I felt like, here's what crosses you into dorkdom.
Yeah.
You start buying stuff that nobody knows about, and they bring Prince up, and they go, I love Prince, and I go, oh, did you get Crystal Ball? Because I love the track, number 3 track.
There's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, and all of a sudden people go, I know, I like Purple Rain, and go, let's go crazy. I'm like, and then as a dork you go, wow, you don't like Prince,
right?
You like pop music.
Which is a valid like.
It's a valid like. I'm not saying it's not wrong,
exactly.
But don't tell me you're a Prince fan,
right? So you ended up going down this
craziness, yeah, and to the point.
Like, how many albums does he have?
48.
He has 48 albums?
And I have 9 point...
Wasn't he like 50 years old when he died?
I think I have 58. I have... wow. I don't even... See? Do you see? I don't even have a space. Like, there's no space.
He was 58. Okay.
So he had so many albums. And then he had another probably... they say it's possibly 30,000. He's released another 3,000 or 4,000 songs. I have every single one of those.
Wow! Just as individual tracks.
Yeah, I think I used to have 9.2 gigs of Prince music, and now I have 20 gigs of Prince music.
Wow!
There's an album called 2010 that he released.
Okay.
Everybody, I want you to go, because a lot of people go, I used to like Prince. He didn't release anything good in a long time. Go to an album called 2010.
Okay.
And there's a song called Lay Down on it.
Okay.
From the heart of Minnesota, here come the Purple Yoda. The dude.
Okay. So a little bit of rhyme, a little bit of hip hop, and
he was a master of it all. He actually, if you go,
because his styles changed, right?
You know what it is? It's not even his styles changed. He knew how to do it from the beginning. You got to remember, Prince started playing guitar and piano when he was 7.
Okay.
He started playing when he was a kid, like a tiny kid.
Oh.
And there's something that just came up today online. Marshall Warfield tweeted it out, where he talks about his dad. He said I remember already standing by the car waiting for him because his parents were divorced and they had his mom was kind of psycho, but his dad was a musician.
Okay.
And he says
so by definition a psycho.
And he's going to move in with his dad, crazy with anticipation. Calling back to mind the whole. This Prince wrote this, by the way. Calling back to mind the whole experience reminds me to do the best I possibly can every chance I get to be on stage, because somebody out there is seeing you for the first time. Artists have the ability to change lives with a single performance. My father and I had our lives changed that night. He went and saw the Woodstock movie with his dad.
Oh, okay.
So that's when you say, I'm not just a fan of the music. Like the way the dude lived his life was pretty insane. Now the crazy part,
was he 7 when he saw the Woodstock movie?
I don't know when it came out.
It might have been.
He was a
late
kid.
70s.
He was a kid, and he said that he was right around that time I got to move. My dad asked me to live with him full time, and he said the best day of my life because his dad was a musician.
Right.
And after he said they saw that Woodstock movie together.
Yeah.
And when we walked out, I told my dad what I was going to do. And my dad said, good, that's what you should do. And that's a rare thing for a parent.
Yeah.
So he said him and his dad were like the best friends, which is weird because if you see Purple Rain, the character who plays his father in that movie is also
super
a musician.
hitty.
Super hitty. He's very
There's a lot of hitting.
You're kind of hitty. Back it down. I like that.
Right. We're trying to get away from the hitting.
Jackie, I like the way you talk.
Yeah.
So anyway, so music aside, he studied every genre, knew every genre. There's an album he did called Musicology, and here's how brilliant the guy was. A lot of people say Prince was crazy. I think people that are really super brilliant come across crazy.
Okay.
Throughout life.
Because of the obsession, or because of
not even Martin Luther King. If you look what he said, all right, they're going to come down here with baseball bats. I put this in one of my acts. They're going to come down with baseball bats. They're going to beat us, shoot us with fire hoses. I don't want anybody to do anything. Don't fight back. Just keep marching. Now, if you're in that speech, you're like, I'm sorry, what? We're just going to take it?
I thought you were going to lead us to revolution.
Yeah, whoa.
I got a plan. And Martin Luther King's like, no, I got an idea.
Let's don't do anything. But wait, it's hurting now.
I don't know. They invented film. It's going to look good. It's going to look real good when these banana heads drag us off into the weeds.
Yeah, but we got to sacrifice my skull. Yeah. So what he did was on musicology. So his popularity had waned a bit. He's built a big production facility in
in Minnesota.
In Minneapolis. And they filmed Graffiti Bridge there. And what he did was brilliant. So the SoundScan system, he figured out how to work it. So he wrote this album called Musicology.
Okay.
Musicology is Prince's, at the time, people were saying he's over, he's done.
Okay.
He wrote this album that takes every genre of music, funk, hip-hop, he raps, pop music, rock music. He went down the whole line in 12 tracks.
Okay.
And when I got it, and then what he did was he went on tour. Well, he was playing Staples Center. I went and saw this tour, and part of the ticket price, they'd added $10 onto it.
Okay.
And as you walk through the gates, they handed you the new album. So every night of that tour counted as his SoundScan album, as his sales. And he sold like 300,000 albums in like 2 weeks.
Oh God!
And he was at the top of the charts.
So he was kind of a marketing genius as well.
Brilliant cat.
Right.
Also, do you know though? So he signed a. So here's the thing about Prince too, and I think this is not one of the in-depth stories. It's no Chocolate Dolphin. Let's just say that.
And let me tell you, I don't even know the basic stories. So
here's what he did. So you remember when
he changed his name to a symbol.
Do you remember this?
Okay.
And that seemed kind of crazy, right?
Right.
Call me the artist from now on. And you could feel a country of 330 million people roll their eyes collectively.
Right.
And even I did.
But there was, and I did, yeah. And I remember somebody said, well, there was a reason for it, and it was a contract reason. And I was like, oh, well, then I don't care. Then do whatever you need to do to get your stuff back.
And not only is it a contract reason, but the publicity he got it was phenomenal. So here's what he did.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened was he was releasing music to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owned his ass. And this is another reason why I've done my last 4 specials. We're filming my wife, who's a comic, that come up, and I'm filming my next one.
Okay.
I film my own movie.
Yep.
No one owns it. I own it.
Right.
I own the copyrights on all my specials because in the contracts, because of Prince,
yeah.
I said, nope. You don't get in perpetuity does not fit on my contract. In fact, I turned down a contract recently because they said in perpetuity and they went and changed it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, Barry Gordy, you don't get to own my shit. I own my shit.
Right. So, I have I have 4 albums.
There you
go. They're all mine.
Awesome.
And all the masters are mine. And the guy who did the last 3 albums was like, why won't you do an album with me? And I yelled across the bar, because I want all the money, Dan. I wrote the jokes. Why don't I pay you to record it, and then you can do whatever you can do distribution-wise, but I own it. It's mine.
We even book our own theaters now. I book my own theaters now.
Okay.
Specifically for this reason. We were going in this large company. I can't say.
Don't even. Yeah.
And
everyone knows. They'll hear about it on Jackie and Laura.
They were taking 65% of the gate. And the stuff was charged like it was curtain rental, $2,500, lighting, $1,500. That was all the stuff and thing. And I was like, so my wife, who's a comic now, she's 10 years in. She's finally crossed that line where she kept begging me, don't give me the reasons, make it go faster. Tell me how to get funnier. Stage time. You're writing. You're an English major. You're writing the best jokes I've ever heard.
There you go.
You just
keep writing.
Yeah. And she
keep getting up.
She hits 10 years this year, and she looks at me. She goes, stage time.
Stage time.
Yeah, it took you 10.
Yeah.
But we did the same thing.
Yeah, completely. You were just like, no, this joke is amazing. Why am I not on television? You're like, because there's one of them. Yeah, In other news.
Exactly. It's 30 minutes, big laugh, 30 minutes. That's how that's going. So what he did was, so in perpetuity. So Warner Brothers owned his ass, basically. Yeah. And in fact, on the album Chaos and Disorder, which is, by the way, there's some great tracks off Chaos and Disorder. People look it up. Yeah. And he... On the back of the album, it says, "This is the last piece of work the artist will ever do for Warner Brothers." He actually put a "fuck you" on the back of the album.
Oh God,
it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. So here's what Warner Brothers owned Prince. They wouldn't let him release. In fact, there was a song he did called "Most Beautiful Girl in the World," which is an awesome song.
Yeah.
Talk about a pop piece of genius.
Right.
He basically asked Warner Brothers, will you release this? And Warner Brothers took this song, and the A&R guy who's never played a guitar said, nah, we're not going to release this. It's not that good.
Oh, my God.
So Prince said, can I have it? And he goes, yeah, do what you want with it. He released it and went #1 in 58 countries.
Oh, my God.
that guy
fired.
He's working at a Subway. I saw him at Subway. I said, you're the Prince guy.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. I said, no. Yeah. Do you want cheese?
I'm a sandwich artist. Yeah. I'm the artist formerly known as a sandwich artist.
Nice. Look at you with the connection.
Sure. I can pick it up.
It's awesome. So he changed his name to the symbol specifically.
Right.
Legally changed it to that.
Okay.
So, which is, I would love to walk into that government building.
That DMV. Like, how do you...
walked in and went, yeah, hey, can I see your license, sir? What the fuck is this?
Right, how do I...
It's a glyph?
Yeah, how do I pronounce that?
It's impronounceable.
It's impronounceable. Is that your impression?
He said that many times.
Yeah,
it's impronounceable. So he...
I like that he went impronounceable and not unpronounceable.
He probably said unpronounceable. I didn't go to college, so it's my fault.
I want him to have said impronounceable.
I would never
as a fuck you.
I would never make Prince as stupid as me, ever.
No worries.
So he changed his name, and he got around it.
Do they still own his old stuff, though? They still got his old stuff.
I want to say in 2014... 2014, supposedly he got his manager got the masters back.
Oh, really?
He did get all the masters back, and he was supposed to do 4 more albums or more for Warner Brothers at $100 million. So he decided to go back, but they were no longer. He crossed. He was icon status now. You're fucking Prince. We know we can sell this many albums. And no one ever hired him because, oh, you're a genius. They're like, oh, well, we know now we can sell this many albums based on your sales.
So we will renegotiate with the things you want.
Yeah, that's what I love when someone goes, it's a standard contract. There's no such thing ever.
Oh, I will digress briefly because I got offered. I shot my own special because I was told that Netflix was looking for content. Mm-hmm. Anyway, whatever. So I went to the people that were the arbiters of what content Netflix wanted.
Right.
That was already pre-recorded, and
the gatekeepers. I hate the gatekeepers.
Yeah. They sent me this. It's probably 6 years ago, they sent me this contract. And whenever I read a contract, I skim it initially for dollar signs.
Right.
And then I didn't see any dollar signs. And I was like, oh, percentage? And so I'm looking for, I was like, they're going to make me fucking read this thing. And so,
I'm already out.
I'm already exhausted. And I do read it, but I like to see, I'm like, is it going to be worth my while to read it?
Right, of course.
So I read it, and what they they would own Horcrux, the DVD that I just printed myself, and I put up online for download. And but they would own it for 10 years.
Where can they get that, by the way?
Oh, that's right now at Comedy Film Nerds, but Comedy Film Nerds going under. So I think I'm going to put it up on iTunes myself.
Got it.
And or I'll put it on YouTube for people to watch it.
Now, did you record the album or did you film it also?
There's two different versions. The DVD has an extra 10 minutes. And it has a bonus, like a DVD bonus thing, because I thought it was funny, much like Titus Nation. And and the bonus is just me that Tuesday night at Acme having a brain freeze and not remembering my act. And so it is.
I love you for putting that on.
I was
That's
just
awesome.
like, I'm just going to walk into the green room, grab my notebook. I'll be right back. And
how alternative of you.
It felt
very alternative.
My current album, I also had the notebook out, but that was because it was recorded, as I'd like to tell them, 6 weeks after the election, and I had I was in terror.
Yeah,
So
rage and terror.
And the first 10 minutes of that album is the first political material I've ever done.
Wow.
And then the following 45 minutes is just normal, happy dogs and dick jokes.
Thank you for, by the way, delving into that. Somebody, again, and this relates to Prince too, thank you so much for having the balls to go there, because so many come. I don't want to do that. I don't want. I'm like, that's our fucking job. It's
Right.
Our job. Our job is to take what's going on and deal with it.
Well, you write what you write, and if you are writing something else, you win, I guess, because I can't write anything else.
I call
now.
it growing a tumor on my soul. I can't if it's coming. If my brain is going and I don't put that down.
Yeah.
It backs up in a weird way, and I start to get angry and
Right.
And I'm already on the ragged edge of angry all the time anyway.
Right. Well, and there's this whole people who have been super edgy for 10 years before this.
Yeah.
And now they're not addressing it. And I'm like, you know where the edge is. It's right fucking there.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
right.
understand. You're just you're backing away from. What's happening? Are you sad? It's,
In my new show, I try to solve suicide, and
interesting.
And Rachel kept telling me, "You sound stupid when you say that." I go, "No, I've had mom killed herself, a sister
Right.
killed herself. I'm gonna solve suicide with this show."
Interesting.
And I go and I do the darkest jokes I've ever done about my sister's
Oh, my
suicide.
God.
And I tell the audience before, I said,
I don't know if people know. Chris Titus, possibly previously dark. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I tell them, I go, the joke I'm going to do, I go, not for a while in the show,
Yeah.
I go, but it's like a comic pulling a triple backflip from a standing position, and I said, when we get there, you're going to know it.
Right. Oh.
And you're going to hate me or you're going to laugh. I just want to warn you.
Right.
And so the first two, I did it. I broke the showman at Flappers because this is such a weirdly great place. It's like this amazing.
It's such a weird room, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
the road, but it's also L.A.
It's the road, but it's L.A. It's
kinda neat.
It's a pizza parlor, but it's not.
Yeah. Exactly. They do good work with meatloaf. Anyway.
And it's awesome. And I broke it in there, and I set that up, and one guy in the audience goes, "There it is!" He just yells out, "There it is!"
That's so funny. My father, I do a lot of material about my dad. My dad is almost always, he doesn't care that he's not the hero of most of it.
Right.
He just likes me talking about him. He called me one time and said, "I missed you, so I put that show in that you did about me." And I was like, "Did you miss me, or did you miss me talking about you?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah. You talking about me."
My father hated it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, the new show I'm doing is called Stories I Shouldn't Tell. And the joke I do is, I used to be called Stories I Couldn't Tell, but everybody died, so there's not going to be lawyers now.
Exactly. My dad didn't like one story about an outfit that I put him in. He was like, "I was never in that outfit." I was like, "How could I have made that outfit up, Dad? It's creepy."
You were.
And then I did a joke about my dead mother, who him and my oldest brother are like, Okay, here's the joke is that my mother, you're familiar with the Irish goodbye when your mother kills herself in a drunk driving accident when you're 7, and that is a very dark joke, and so
I had to move the mic away because I knew I was going to blow the
right, and she was 33,
and that's why I love Jackie.
Yes, and she was 33, the age of Christ. Coincidence? Yes. And so, but the thing is so my brother Terry and my dad are like, she was 34, and I said she would not begrudge me those 8 days for that joke. And
this is the weird thing. Again, here's why you're one of my favorite people to watch. Well, because you know what? It's funny. You're funny as all our funny changes. You were always funny.
Yeah.
In the last 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
It's just because we've been doing it how long now? How long?
35 years.
I got 36. So
I started when I was 19 as well.
Holy shit, kid.
Yeah.
We are like the veterans.
Yeah.
something happened in the last 7 years to me too, where all of a sudden I used to work so hard and push so hard to get it right. And now I write it and I get on stage and then I have this freedom that I didn't used to have. I used to have to lock it down. And because of that freedom, I've gotten funnier in a way that I didn't expect. You have confidence. Is it confidence?
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, you can never. You never know where it's going. I mean, what you were saying to your wife, right? Is the stage time creates the animal that you aren't. Like you don't even know what animal you're a mutant. You're morphing. Yeah. You don't know, and
that's what it is.
And as long as you're open to still writing and you're open to learning new things, it's those guys that you were talking about. Like there's comics and men and women who do the road, get stuck in a rut, and it is poison if you get bitter. Like there's just too many people our age who are like, well, I don't understand why Drew Carey gets to, and you're like, don't sweat it. Who cares?
Yeah, you're not on his track.
It's a different
timeline. It's a different timeline. You're not on his timeline.
He's perfectly happy in his world. You would not necessarily have been happy there. Right. And just keep writing jokes you write. And then if someone can, I was told very early on, I was very lucky that I was told that.
Who told you this? Comedian?
You remember Vanda Michaels? Vanda Mikulowski? Yeah. So she wrote, it's in my bathroom actually. She wrote it out. I didn't see her for 20 years.
So you put her genius in your bathroom. That's really nice.
Yeah, she's pretty great.
Very honorable.
I brought it to her. It was my husband had it framed. And because I showed it to her and she goes, that is my handwriting. I have no memory of writing that. She wrote it when she was 24.
Oh, good. And, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, exactly. We're not. But it was this great thing about how she was like, it was something about being, I forgot. But it's like.
You want to go to the bathroom and check it out? And now, ladies and gentlemen, Jackie's on her way to the bathroom to grab the framed thing. And you'd think that in the bathroom she'd have time to read it once in a while. Oh, wow, it's legit. Holy God. Yeah. I don't have my glasses. That's an old person. I said an old person sentence.
You said an old person thing, but that'll happen. Hold it far away.
Wow, and, she is not kidding.
Yeah, she's not kidding.
How to be a Zen comic. Why don't you put this online for us?
It is online.
Where is it?
It's on the main page of my website. Is like the first advice I ever got. I'm going to be watching
it. By the way, how to be a Zen comic, people. We will all be going today and reading it.
Well, and the one is never compare yourself. Be yourself. Wait, so 3 is take risks. I think it was take risks.
Do you know what this takes? People, I'm going to explain something to you. There's a lot of comedians I work with that would give you 2 sentences of advice or whatever. This woman wrote out the Magna Carta.
Right. Be patient. This is it. This is the one. Be patient. So if you're patient, because it just says, with your creativity, ideas will come to you as you grow and change. Be receptive. Don't get caught up in trying to churn out half-baked goods. Let newer, fresher stuff replace stale ones until stale ones can be revived. And then this one, it's 5B, you guys. Anyway.
5B.
Vanda did 5B. With your career, don't let overly ambitious, competitive-minded comics catch you up in their frenzy. Set your sights and then set out for the adventure toward them. Do I sound like Khalil Gibran? Which is an old person reference.
Wow.
And she's like, if you have the skill to crack up a room of people consistently, there will be work for you to be sure.
Yep.
That's the thing that I internalized, is that if you can make people laugh, if you do the job,
you will always have the job.
You'll always have the job. And sometimes you're working at a pizza parlor, but
they give you money.
It's a joy.
The money's the same. Well, that's what happened. I always say, it's so funny because Prince had this weird dichotomy.
Yes, please come back to Prince.
No.
For
I'm
real,
tell you what. He had this weird dichotomy of spirituality and sexuality, and it was always through his music.
Okay.
And he became a hardcore Jehovah's Witness at one point and stopped.
Oh, that's right.
He stopped swearing on stage. He stopped doing. If there's a bunch of different chapters in Prince's life, and like what she just said, as an artist, if you don't change, you become you're a 10-day-old bread. You mold and it's over. And that's what bitterness is. Bitterness is mold of the soul. So many guys get to this place where, and although Gary Goldman, who I love to death, has now become the Yoda of comedy.
Right.
Well, on
he's
Twitter.
doing that thing on Twitter. I was like, wow, Gary.
And Gary,
would you read a book or just...
At one point, I hope Gary realizes that it's become 500 pieces of advice, and he is Yoda.
Look audience in eyes when you tell jokes.
So, and I love by the way, I think Gary Goldman's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, he's a great joke writer.
But at 340 pieces of advice, I went, you know what? I've been doing it 36 years, and I only have 14 pieces of advice.
Right. And here's the thing about Vanda. This is 6 pieces of advice, and she wrote it. She was 2 years in.
Wow.
She was 2 years in when she wrote this.
Wow.
I was 3 months in.
You know what I love?
Yeah.
I love that at 2 years in, you said?
Yeah.
2 years in, she's like, I'm a veteran. Got this.
Right.
And now we're 36 years in. I'm like, I still don't know shit.
I don't know that I could write that.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
yeah, exactly. When I actually, it's funny. We just end up packaging information to other things. But back to Prince, when it comes to advice, is and the best performers have it. Dana Carvey has it for comedy. Springsteen has it. Prince had it. There's a joy on stage, and I always try to find that. Dana Carvey, the best was Dana Carvey. He gave me and my wife. We did a benefit. I have a charity called. I forgot the name of my charity. Is that weird? No, I know it. The Insight Youth Project.
Who is it helping?
Insight Youth Project. It's for older foster kids who have their adulthood insight.
Oh God.
Because those kids get older, and then people go,
you're fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're not cute anymore.
Right. You have to move out.
I'm not adopting you as a 14-year-old to deal with 14, 15, 16, and 17 to raise you because teenagers are psychotic. And you have a fucked up childhood? Nah.
Yeah.
So those poor kids, they kind of get shuffled away.
They need help.
They do need help more than anybody.
Yeah,
actually, so I always say to people when they go, why should I help these kids? I go, well, do you want them to move into your neighborhood as neighbors, or do you want them to break into your house when you're gone? You decide.
Exactly.
What do you want to do?
Yeah. You want to help those guys? Yeah, that's what you want to do. Just you can have the most selfish reason in the world.
Right. So back to Moldy Souls. Yeah. So many comics will just keep doing, but Prince had this on stage where he had joy. It was always like there was an elf living in his head, and we got to see him. One of the best nights I got to see him, and this is very dork. So I had gotten divorced. It was horrible. My divorce was bad, and I don't know if you've been through pain where you don't give a shit anymore. You just stop giving a shit. And I'd met Rachel, and we were dating, and she was out visiting, and I said, and Prince was playing the Roosevelt Hotel.
Oh wow,
300-seat room.
Wow,
300 seats. And the tickets were, I think they were $1,500 or $1,800 a ticket.
What?
But you got to eat dinner. You got his chef was going to cook you dinner in the restaurant, which they converted to his 3121. The restaurant was called 3121, which is a house he lived up in Beverly Hills when he was recording that album.
And it's a 300-seat room, so you're going to be there. And how long is that concert? 2 hours?
Like 2.5 hours. And then after, if you hung out, he went out on a little tiny stage in the lobby of the hotel with 2 other dudes and played guitar.
Just noodling around?
He noodled around. He noodled. Again, I say Jackie Cation, they took her from the 50s and then went, you were programmed with language from the 50s. It's crazy.
They're like words.
So here's what happened. So we go to the concert, and here's my Prince experience. I'm going to give you my Prince experience.
Yeah.
We're there. I'm a huge Prince fan. Rachel, not so much yet.
Right.
She's not so much. And the reason that...
What year is this?
2007?
Okay.
2007. Yeah, this year's 2019. Yeah, 2007, 2008. And here's what happened. The reason Rachel got enamored with me, I'd gotten through my divorce, really early in my divorce. I'm literally like 4 weeks in. I'm crazy. She went out with me and her friend. My divorce, the story's been told many times, but basically I was in Texas. She lived in Louisiana. I had met her. I called her. She ran a club. She ran the Funny Bone in Shreveport.
Oh, okay.
And now she does comedy, so she has that weird background, and that's why I know how the numbers are now.
Oh yeah.
I know how they
they're
hide
doing.
seats. Yes, I do. So we're hanging out, and we're in a car, and Prince came on, and it was a song he wrote called "Pussy Control." Have you heard that song?
Nope.
You haven't heard "Pussy"? Oh,
not offhand.
Oh,
I'm starting a list.
Now, when you hear that song name, this is what I love about the dude. No problem at all putting out the song "Pussy Control." And you know what it's about? It's about a strong woman who runs her life and doesn't let any man get in her way.
Wow.
That's the.
And what year is this? In 2008, right?
Mama didn't tell you what she told me. Girl, you need pussy control. Are you ready?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
Anyway, I can keep going.
Right, and YouTube will probably cut it.
Yeah. So. I know you can do 7 seconds. You got to cut it at 7 seconds.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So we're in the car. That song comes on.
Right.
And I do the entire song. It's more of a rap song.
Yeah.
I knew every word. And Rachel, who's 13 years younger than me, looks over at me like, what the is going on right now? And years later, she said, that was the moment I realized you were quite a different man.
Right. It's funny. Okay, so talk to me about Prince, though. So he's 7 years old. He starts playing guitar and piano.
Yeah, right. He wrote his first song at 7, actually.
Okay, so when did he record first? Or when
he was already
he backup for
He was working in
before?
Minneapolis. Yes, he was in there was 94 East or 94 West East, I think was the name of the band he did. He was in a bunch of other bands. He was writing stuff. And then at 17... I forget who found him. Someone found him. I'll say Maglioli, the guy who produced the movie, was his manager. Took him to Warner Brothers and brought him demos to Warner Brothers. And he's 17.
Yeah.
And they went, we love this guy. We'd like to get him in the studio. And he said, hold on.
Yeah.
He doesn't want a producer. He produces all his own stuff. Because at this point, he played every instrument.
Okay.
At this point, and we'll get back to the story at the Roosevelt, what he did.
Yeah.
So he played every instrument. So he's playing every instrument, and they go, well, we're not going to give some 17-year-old the run of our studio and money. And he said, tell you what, give him a session and go in and watch him.
Okay.
So they put him in a room. 4 executives, the gatekeepers, come in, watch him for 3 hours, and walk out and go, he can produce whatever he wants. He was better than anybody.
Wow.
So he was one of the first artists ever to get at that age full producing. I mean, he played every instrument on 1999. Every instrument, it's all him. His backup singing, it's all him.
He's doing the backup singing too?
If you listen to the recordings, oh yeah, it's awesome.
Okay.
So
you got to finish the Roosevelt.
Back to the Roosevelt. So I'm sitting there, and I got a couple of drinks in me, I was standing up. I was taking my jacket or something, and we're sitting on couches in the Roosevelt.
Okay.
And it was weird. Quincy Jones was there, and these people. I'm not that person. I don't hang out with famous people, and all these famous people are there.
Yeah.
Jessica Simpson. I'm like, really? It's almost sacrilege that you're here.
She gets to be a fan.
That's true. That's true. Valid. That's valid. And
Dork for a safe space.
Yeah, exactly. And her football player husband.
Fella.
Was there. I don't know. I'm not a football guy. And so here's what happens: is that I stand up and the lights go down. And I turn to Ray, who's sitting behind me on the couch, and I go, "Oh shit, it's about to get real."
Yeah.
And she goes, she takes her finger. She has this look on her face like she's seeing a ghost, and she points behind me, and I turn. And all 5'1" of Prince, well, 5'6" with the heels, is standing a foot from me.
What?
With the light on him, looking at me because I'm 6'2".
Right.
And he's getting a laugh off walking out because he's looking at me like, damn, who's this man standing up? And I'm telling you, Jackie, this dude, I go, I literally, and I go, and Prince looks at me, smiles, and the man floated. He had to weigh. There was a couch in front of him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because there was rows of couches.
Yeah.
He floated up on this couch and like a kitten, landed on the back edge of the couch.
Like this part?
Yes.
Like the tall
back
part?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And started singing and dancing on the couch.
On the couch.
And then he jumped.
In heels. Right.
It was magical.
Yeah.
Magical.
It does feel magical. Holy smokes.
It was a David Copperfield moment. So he jumps off the couch, goes on stage, and it was wicked to see him in this little tiny room. At one point, he starts playing, and he grabs a bass, boom, boom, bang. He's playing "Play That Funky Music, White Boy," by Wild Cherry, and he goes into the song. We're all like, yeah! It's just every moment was crazy. Quincy Jones walks on stage and sings a verse of "Play That Funky Music, White Boy." Then he leaves. Patrick Swayze goes on stage, sings the next verse. And this is where Prince had this amazing sense of humor.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze sings a verse of "Play That Funky Music, White Boy." And as Patrick Swayze walks off the stage, Prince goes to mics and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, David Hasselhoff." I laughed so hard. I'm looking like I was crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And
that is so great.
So he played for 2.5 hours, ended the show. And then we were standing in the lobby, and there's a group of people, like 50 people, standing in the lobby. Now we're standing in the lobby of the Roosevelt.
Yeah.
He comes out on this little tiny stage in the corner, takes his guitar, and plays probably one of the longest jazz guitar solos I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
And it was just awesome. It was just one of those moments. I've seen him at Staples Center. I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl on the Jam of the Year tour. And there's an album he did after Warner Brothers released him. He did an album called Emancipation.
Okay.
Which means so many things,
Right.
There's also another song I want you guys to look up called "When Will We Be Paid" about slavery.
Oh my God,
that is badass. And then one more is Colonized, called "Colonized Mind."
Okay.
He was always trying to expand, and that's why I love that quote that Marsh Warfield tweeted out today, where he says, one performance can change people's lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't about, I'm going to just make all this music and make people shake their asses.
Right.
He had the balls, like I think good comics do, to go into something that nobody wants to hear.
Right.
Like my last special was called Amerigeddon, and it was all about what's happened. It's 2.5 of what's happened. And man, and the people that love it are 5 stars, and then the Trump people are like, they don't even review the special on Amazon. They review Trump. They're like, you know what? Let me explain what this president's done. You don't respect the president.
Well, they're not talking about your comedy.
Can you talk about the jokes? Were the jokes funny? What about?
Did you enjoy anything? Did you buy it?
Why did you watch it the whole thing?
Right.
And he had the balls with Sign of the Times. He wrote a song after Freddie Gray got killed called Baltimore. This man who knew he was turning people off.
Yeah.
But he had to do what he had to do, and he demanded he owned his own stuff. And so I don't just like the music.
Right.
The man himself
stood up for things and was a good person.
He knew he knew what his power was, and even I think even if he didn't, he would have done exactly what he did.
It was weird for me.
I'm mad. And by the way, fuck his family for using "Let's Go Crazy" in a Capital One commercial. This guy who protected his legacy and protected his art.
They're like, no, have at.
The second he died, they sell "Let's Go Crazy" to a credit card company. Do you realize how blatantly brutal and wrong that is?
It's so weird. It's not like they're
Take
not
your
getting
credit card
royalties
and go crazy. But not only, even the connection. Take your credit card and go crazy. Get in debt, fucker. Woohoo!
Yeah,
That's what they're.
That's the message. What a terrible idea.
What a horrible. Across the board, Prince would be. Anyway, and he died. And here's the weird part. So here's conspiracy Titus.
Oh, all right.
Prince conspiracy. Titus.
Should I go get tinfoil?
No, good. No. I got my own. I always have it. This is
right.
a toupee. It's under this. So you know the song "Let's Go Crazy."
Yes. I do, actually.
If the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy.
Okay.
Prince died in an elevator in his house.
What? Do you know that I did an episode of The Dork Forest many years ago with Jen Kirkman and Karen Runtowski? I don't know if you're familiar with either
I know
their
Kirkman.
works.
I like Kirkman.
Yeah, Kirkman's great. Runtowski's amazing. They're both into ghosts and UFO.
Right.
Anyway, so Runtowski says, for some reason we're doing a 3, and Runtowski says, well, I've got this app that'll tell you, it's called Ghost Radar, that'll tell you if there's a ghost in the house.
An app.
It's 99 cents.
So they can find spirits for like 99 cents. That's awesome.
Yeah. And Karen has a great theory that I don't like ghosts because I'm afraid of ghosts. And I'm like, no, I'm unmoved by ghosts. But I'm happy that you are into ghosts because they make for great stories. So she goes, well, can I turn the app on? I said, please do. And so she turns the app on. She's following this thing with this. It's just going boop, 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 like it's doing a radar thing, right? She ends up right behind Jen Kirkman, and it goes off. All of a sudden, she's like, boop. And then it says the word red. And I swear, if I've remembered, and it's an episode of The Dork Forest, if I've remembered it correctly, Jennifer Kirkman says out loud on the Dork Forest, I have a red sweater in my car. I'm saying you're looking for something, is what I'm saying. I'm saying, let's go crazy.
I know. I don't believe it. I just thought it was. Here's what I thought. After this Patrick Swayze sense of humor thing, I thought, because there's a bunch of rumors that he got HIV in the 80s. And then I've heard some other. I have some friends that knew him, and there's a couple of sexual stories that like he wasn't as sexual as he was. He was. It was kind of distant and something.
Okay.
And so very safe.
Okay.
So there was rumors, and these are these rumors. These aren't these allegedly, and that and he got really thin in the last couple of years. He was addicted to opioids, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Because you got to remember this guy. If you ever go watch some video of Prince, and I would like to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame video.
Oh yeah.
Because it's one of the if you're not a fan of Prince yet, and this is making you go, I should check it out.
Yeah.
There's a video I want you to go watch. Well, when he did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Who was being inducted? Who was being indicted?
Oh, I think it was George Harrison.
Okay.
And they did watch Prince, My Guitar Gently Weeps, because holy shit.
Right.
You watched it a couple months ago and you still remember it.
Right. I've seen it now like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's
and
that
it's
good.
Pretty amazing. First of all, his guitar work is like, I don't know anything about the guitar, but he seems to play very well, it turns out. And then,
very well.
Yes.
He's got some of the best guitarists on the planet on stage with him, and they're looking at him like, oh shit, I better practice.
Yeah. Right. And then at the end, what he does with his guitar is ridiculous because you're like, what the hell just happened?
But that's how smart he was.
Yeah.
He knew that would stick in everybody's mind.
Yeah.
People at the end of this special try to find it. He throws his guitar up in the air. They cut to the wide camera, and the guitar never comes down.
It never comes down. You're like, where the hell's the guitar? Where'd the guitar go?
It's awesome.
That is so great. Like, who caught it? Like, he clearly threw it up high enough.
And even if that happened, who was in the Raptors that caught that fucker?
Right,
and how
right.
far did he throw it? And that, you know.
And how did they practice? And what?
Right. It could have killed one of Aerosmith in the front row. It was
Right.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. What was I talking about before we got the ghost? Oh, making stuff up. And so he basically... he was addicted to opioids, and he was down to like his weight was so down, and there was actually a doctor on the way to his house. They had actually his friends, because he had a couple nights before he'd left a gig, died on the plane. Basically, went to respiratory. They landed, put him in the emergency room, and then he was like something to the effect of they didn't want to know he was in the emergency room. So after they got him, they shot him with the pen to wake his ass up again. So they saved his life. Then he got back on the plane, went home. And then there was a doctor coming up from L.A. who basically knocked on the door as Prince died in the elevator.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
You know what's so weird is now here's the other, like I literally have like 3 pieces of information that have wandered. I lived in Minneapolis through the 90s, right?
Right.
So, and then I go back twice a year to work, right? I have family there, whatever. So, I have several, like I walked past the band Husker Du once.
Yeah.
They were rehearsing. And I was like, what do they play? And so I don't know anything about it. But what I did hear about Prince is that he would have these parties at his
studio, yeah.
At his studio home outside of Minneapolis.
Yeah, he had a big sound stage, and he would do kind of mini concerts there, yeah.
Yeah, and they would start at like 11 and go until 5, 6 in the morning.
Yep.
And it was expected to be an orgy, but it was usually just him playing.
And not a lot. It was, I don't know if there was alcohol available, but he was really healthy too. I mean, in the sense of what he ate and stuff. Yeah.
Right. It was just. I guess if you have pain, and he has landed, and that was the other thing I heard is that he's landed on his knees too many times, and so he was in. That's why he got addicted to opioids.
His hips were. So if you watch some of the video, go to the concert videos from the Purple Rain tour or Sign of the Times. When he was younger, he was jumping off 8-foot risers.
Yeah.
In heels.
Yeah.
And landing.
And doing superhero landings. And it's just too...
And doing it over and over and over. And
right. 150 nights a year.
I believe he had a hip replacement, or 2 hip replacements. And he did it. Yeah, he did it. How many concerts did he... And you got to remember, here he was big. In Europe, he's Jesus.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean...
Like
France
out of their minds.
Yeah. You know, I got to talk to Springsteen once, and Springsteen said that...
What?
He said in Europe... Yeah, Springsteen liked my show Titus.
Yeah.
And I met Nils Lofgren. I got to go to the concert. And this is actually, there's a 30-minute bit on, I wrote about meeting Bruce Springsteen, where I was by far the biggest douchebag. It's called Bruce Who, because Nils Lofgren goes, well, Bruce and Patty are fans. And I went, Bruce who?
Yeah.
You're not talking about Bruce Springsteen, right?
Yeah.
The guy you play with. He's laughing. So anyway, so Springsteen said that in Europe, he said America is fickle. America is what's your next thing? What's the new thing? What's the new thing?
Right.
In Europe, Bruce goes, man, I got 16-year-old kids moshing. He goes, because they respect art over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah, he said, and your sitcom was art.
Oh.
Yeah, he was
there
very
you
nice.
go.
Very
That's
nice.
Neat. That's awesome.
You want to talk about killing all the demons of your childhood? Have Bruce Springsteen tell you what you did is good.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, fuck you, Dad.
Watch this, motherfucker.
Exactly.
And, you're like, okay, all right.
So he was on painkillers, and I guess I get why. I mean, when you hear some of these people like this, that pitcher that died, and he was just drinking and wanted to be that high. Prince was actually fighting pain, and got addicted to it.
Right. Well, and the thing is I think there's a couple of different kinds of addiction. There's the addiction where you're allergic, and then all of a sudden you have to have all of it all the time. Mm-hmm. And there's other ones you get addicted to the lack of pain, and and then you just end up taking too much.
Wow, that's the interesting way to put it. I was addicted to the lack of pain.
I love the idea of not being in any pain.
Yeah, you know where you can walk across the room and not make weird noises?
Right, and you're not crackling rows in your hips. Your hips are full of all kinds of cartilage.
I sound like popcorn when I walk.
Exactly. So, by the way, I am talking to Christopher Titus, which is ChristopherTitus.com. It's at Titus Nation on, Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff.
Amazon, my new special, Amerigeddon, is out. The one I'm working on now, if you come see me live, is called Stories I Shouldn't Tell. It's 90 minutes of... there you go. The best one. I've never been on... I'm on paper still, and I'm getting standing ovations. I've never had... That's
great.
It's pan panicking though. If you're us,
Right.
If you're a
You're just
damaged
like,
comedian, you're
what
like,
do you
no, this is not right.
Maria told me one time, she said, set didn't go as well. And I said, they didn't carry you off stage? What happened?
Yeah.
And she goes, yes, that's exactly what happened. And so now it is a recurring joke with us. She's just like, she's like, they didn't carry me off stage, and I don't approve, but I understand that my expectations might be great.
And then I did a movie called Special Unit. Due to the Fairness and Disabilities Act, the LAPD has to hire 4 handicapped undercover detectives, and it's on Amazon too. It's got 5 stars. Really, we used real disabled actors. We used and we use all these actors that don't get a shot. So go see that too.
Yeah. I mean, that's always funny when they're like, oh, we're just going to stick this abled actor in a wheelchair, and you're like, hey, you know who's been waiting to get some work? The guy who's stuck in a wheelchair. How about?
So we did that. That's because I have friends that are disabled, and I was like, it's not fair that keeps happening. And they're funny as they're so funny, man.
Right. Everyone I know who has some sort of problem, broken childhood, sort of fucked up something. If they're not killed by it, it turns out they're usually pretty funny.
Yeah. And true that.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And then the mystery is people who you're like, you look good.
Yeah.
You say that your parents loved you. Why are you funny? What's happening?
Yeah, that's the problem. When someone goes, "Yeah, my dad was an engineer and my mom was a nurse. We had plenty of money. They loved me with all my heart. I graduated from Ivy League school.
I had a horse,
and I'm like, you know what? You're not allowed in comedy."
Right.
Yeah.
But I had a theory.
I had a horse. And even, by the way, I don't know anybody in comedy who's had a horse, but that was a nice.
Right.
And by the way, fuck that guy if he had
a horse.
Exactly.
I used to have this theory about it where I was like, okay, my theory was that all the new younger comics that are coming up, they all have good dental, they look good. I was like, when I started doing stand-up, it was the insane and the unattractive who did stand-up comedy. Yes. And now there are some seriously attractive people, but here's my theory, they're nuts. And they're nuts because they were all raised with Adderall, and then they started doing ayahuasca and partying like there was no tomorrow, and so they've made themselves go bananas.
And then they became adults, and they found out their parents helicopter parrying them was the worst thing that can happen, and so they failed a lot right when they got out on their own, and now they're crazy. And
they've driven themselves mad here in the 11th hour.
Thank God for my crazy. I love. Someone said to me, I was telling these stories. I'm telling stories about real quick. I tell stories about being in a bar with my mom, being kidnapped, in the new show. I said all the shit that happened when I was a kid. Okay, but see, people.
I remember the crazy stuff from '98. Going, who is this guy?
Yeah, this one makes Norman Rockwell's Bleeding look like a puppet show. That's what my wife said. She goes, this one, holy shit. I talk about my sister blowing her brains out and stuff. And so I'm talking about, I go through this story, and I'm losing my kids to my crazy ex-wife. So it's all these horrible stories. And some woman goes this weekend in hilarity, she goes, I hear, oh, I go, lady, I make money off this now.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah, there's no awe.
Yeah, there's no awe.
The awe will actually ruin the fucking joke. And you're just like, no, I lived. Let us move forward.
Right.
What we're doing now is we're making it okay for other people
This is through the other side story.
Yeah, this is great.
Where were you when I was 9?
Exactly.
And that's when I needed awe.
In front of somebody. My Uncle Tom. Why don't you just go find that guy and fucking dig him up and punch him in the face?
Exactly.
And, anyway, so...
Prince, that's my door.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's weird because I didn't realize, because it's your dork force, and thank you for having me on. This show is so awesome because I thought, well, maybe I'm not dorky enough about Prince. And the second you said something, I was like, no, he's 58. Boom. And I realized, I was like proud of my dorkness for a second.
Board. Yeah, and well, you should be, because the thing is there's things, I will be looking up, there are several songs I'll be looking up. Do Me, Pussy Control, and then Most Beautiful Girl in the World, and When Will We Be Paid, and Colonized Mind. That's going to be the track list that I make.
Oh, also, you're going to love this.
Yeah?
Pink Cashmere.
Pink Cashmere.
Pink Cashmere.
Okay.
You know Erotic City, of course.
No.
Oh, Erotic City. That's a fun one. Do you want sexy, or do you want to shake your ass?
Shake my ass.
Shake your ass.
Okay.
Erotic City's good. It's man off the B-sides. There's a song called Shockadelica. Pussy Control, definitely.
Okay.
You'll like that one. Tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to send you a playlist, and I'm going to do a
if you make
USB
a spot,
drive. And yeah.
No more than 8. Here's what happened. Murray Valeriano gave me 102 U2 songs.
Nah, that's
Guess
not.
what
I
happened?
would never.
I wiped that USB thing and I used it for something else. I love Murray like a brother, but I can't.
I'm going to give you 8.
Eight songs.
I'll give you 8 songs.
8, and if you want to make a Spotify list, I will post it for Rangers because Lydia Popovich, I think it was Lydia, might have been Amy Miller. I had 2 episodes about Dolly Parton.
Right.
Oh, it was Lydia because she was like, these are the 8 saddest, most terrifying Dolly Parton songs in the world. And I was like, well, show me a list.
Yeah.
And she sent me a Spotify list.
Why does
so
that excite me when someone says something like that? Someone says some crazy thing like, these are by far the most heart-wrenching, that's going to kill you, make you cry. Can I please have those now?
Can I have that?
As soon as possible.
That's awesome. All right. Chris Titus, it has been an hour. Thank you very much for being on the Dork Forest.
This was awesome. Thanks, kid.
All right. And you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?